I'm Chris Berman. Let's get straight to the action. In our first game this week, we had the Vikings win by a comfortable margin. The Browns drop yet another game and are really struggling on and off the field. Lavernius Coles hauled in over 150 yards receiving and helped his Redskins beat the Lions. Off the Missouri River in Kansas City, we had the Chiefs come away with a 7-point win. We had a big injury in this one, and Trey has the lowdown for us. Trey?
All right, Boomer, thanks. Luckily, we had a relatively injury-free week, which makes my job just that much easier. Eric Hicks is arguably the biggest name on this list. Doctors confirming the worst this week, a torn hamstring, and that'll put him out for the rest of the regular season. There's a chance, however, they'll get him back for the playoffs. So that'll do it for now. Chris, let's send it back to you.
Up at Giant Stadium, we had the Giants edge their way to a narrow 3-point win. 49ers, Falcons. Michael Vick is barking signals at the 5-yard line. Always tough to move in there. His favorite target, the tight end. Boy, does he get open again. Touchdown. The Falcons win this one by the final score of 28-21. The Bills' defense held their opponents to under 100 rushing yards in their win at Lambeau Field. In a long-standing AFC rivalry, we had the Chargers win their 4th game of the year. The Ravens lost on the road and will have to travel again next week to meet the Buccaneers. The A-Train, Anthony Thomas, played well despite the loss and showed us why he's ranked up at the top of the league. Chad Johnson had over 50 yards receiving and helped his Bengals beat the Steelers. Raiders, Texans. Corey Bradford is so dangerous with his speed. The ball at the 27-yard line. And there's a little stutter step, and he's wide open. Touchdown! The Texans go on to win this by the final score of 29-24. Down in the fun and sun of Jacksonville, we had the Jaguars narrowly coming out on top by 5. And last but not least, we had the Colts come away victorious. So let's change things up a bit and turn to a guy that's had his eye on the college game, and that's our own Mel Kiper Jr. He joins us now. Mel, your work never ends, I know. Believe me, I know better than anybody else. But it's never too early to start thinking about next year's draft, is it?
Yeah, no doubt about it. And now that most teams have 7, 8, 9 games under their belts, we're starting to get a pretty good sense for which guys are going to be blue chippers come draft day. Francis is a guy, for starters, that I think truly has very few negatives in his game right now. 5'11", 247, out of Indiana, and most teams would be hesitant to go after a fullback so early, but this is a guy I really believe could be someone you plug in from the get-go, and he could wind up filling that position for you for a decade or so. Medina is another name that's becoming well-known in NFL circles. As a corner, he's effectively controlled his side of the field all year long, and his makeup speed and great instincts make him almost certain to be one of the first corners drafted. So that'll do it for now, but you can guarantee that the big board is going to see a lot of risers and fallers between now and April.
So that'll just about do it. But before we go, I'm going to toss out a few game balls to my prime-time players. Each and every one of these men had a week to remember. That'll do it, sports fans. I'm Chris Berman, and thanks so much for joining us here in the Bristol studios. We'll see you next week right here on ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.